it's week 8. We're at week 8 of week 13 of the
Yeah.
Awaken Sacred Body program, and just midway through, or a little more than midway through, actually, checking in with all of you today, with you, Tabea, who's been a participant in this program, and you have been joining the Changemaker program, which was kind of the previous version of the Awaken to the Sacred Body program. And so, just a couple of questions for you to share with the world, to share with the people out there on your experience with this program in, you know, in purpose of allowing them to see a little deeper into what's actually happening. So, since we already have a little bit of a history, I think it's going to be very interesting for people to hear, like, what made you join this program? What are, let's say, 3 of the reasons that you decided to join this new version of one of my group coaching programs?
The reason why I joined in was I struggled with my mental health and other things that happen sometimes in life. I remembered how well things were going after the Changemaker program. So I wondered a little bit where I took the wrong turn. I wrote you remember, to ask if there is still access to the recordings, and you told me about the program. So, yeah, this was absolute a sign that there's a connection and I have to join in this program because it was already this time you make the new program. So it's the connection, and then you have to go with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that I value about you so much, since we've worked together in the first program. And I remember kind of your intention back then was to really get back into the flow, right? Like this flow
Yeah.
state, universal flow state, and not
Yeah.
constantly like hitting a wall again and hitting a wall again.
Yeah.
And we established that, but sometimes the momentum of a program wears off, obviously, after the program. And I'm giving out the tools and I'm giving the practices, and we have those months to integrate. But for some people, that's just not enough, or not sustainably enough, right? And you're right, it was such a funny moment. You reached out to me, and like I was just, as you were messaging me, I was setting up the last things for this new version of the
Yeah.
program. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, I'm working on an upgraded version. Maybe you consider actually just, joining in. And now we're
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, very beautiful. And it's also interesting for me to hear, if you look back at the Changemaker program, and now you have this upgraded, deepening, let's say more spiritual, more straight to
Yeah.
the core of solving the problems. The Changemaker program was a bit more tool oriented. It was giving you the tools and helped you integrate these tools. This one here, we talk about topics like the ego and the soul. We talk about topics like recognizing the voices in the mind that are coming from lower states of consciousness and emotions such as fear, anxiety, stress, shame, guilt, even pride, and recognizing these voices compared to the voices of peace, joy, bliss, and gratitude and acceptance. What do you feel like the differences are in your experience now walking through this program and having the other program? What differences are there for you?
It's much deeper. And so I would say a lot, not harder, it's more challenging because you hear the ego much louder. The Changemaker program is not easy way, but as you said, the tools and you can go with it. And now you have really face your ego and everything, every feelings that comes up. And yeah, it's tough, but there's so much relief, you know, so much. Yeah, I think you have also the questions about the biggest learning and favorite transformations. So I have more prepared to this question to go more deeper. That's what you ask, you know?
Yeah, of course. Um, yeah, like you're walking through it right now, and we're at week 8. There's still another month and 1 week ahead, right? We
Yeah.
still have one-on-one session. We have a couple more group sessions together. And I would love to also hear a little bit, like just in this program now, just in these last 8 weeks, what things do you notice in your everyday life that start changing with integrating this new wisdom, integrating the format of the practices and the caliber of the practices, right? It's a different caliber, the types of meditations
Yeah.
that we're doing. It's a different
Yeah.
caliber from before the old program. So what changes in everyday life do you notice?
Yeah. First of all, I wake up earlier in the morning to meditate, sometimes to listen to mantras. And this has made me more patient with myself and with my daughter, which is a real change in everyday life. Because more patient for her, for me, we are so calmer. You know, with kids, there's every day some struggles, and they know how you to hit your buttons to make you like, oh God, what is happening? And I have so much more patience, and I already see the difference from a few weeks ago. And also, just one morning when I don't meditate, the day is like worse than when I meditate in the morning. It's real. It's real. It's yeah, that's really deep and interesting, you know, to see the change in days when you go up with your routine and meditate. The day is so much better. So much better. Yeah.
I remember at the beginning of the program, you all were like, "Oh my God, he's gonna push us to get up out of bed earlier, pushing us to do that." And you're like, "Fuck this shit! What did I sign up for?"
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
it's exactly those subtleties throughout the day that you're describing that I find so beautiful to observe. I was talking to my mom who just arrived here recently, about this. Like every day is so much more charged with little miracles, little surprises.
Yeah.
And the practice that we're doing in the morning, right? You mentioned it, there's mantras, there's meditation, there's a breathwork component, there's another component that's coming towards the end of the program, a movement component. Um, like the day becomes charged with these little surprise miracles. And I'm just so grateful that you're choosing again to be in here, especially also as a mother, because I know that can be such a big resistance piece for many people. Like, I have a family, I've got shit to do, I'm like, absolutely. And that's why you need to get yourself in the right mindset, state of
Yeah.
mind, connect to your soul, to your spirit, so that you show up for the family and for yourself more gracefully. So, cheers to you for that, really, really.
Thank you to pushing me. Yeah.
Welcome. And like looking back, what were some of the key moments for you, those biggest learnings, like light bulb moments, aha moments?
We cannot expect without giving to the universe. Every day is an update for the mind. So you have every day is a new change to update your brain. And it is within us. Everything, everything, we just need to activate it. This were some points where, yes, it's all in here. It's all there. You just have to go up and meditate. Go. And then you can activate it and you can, yeah, update your mind and you grow. You grow. And it's a giving to the universe, and they will send you more miracles. It's true. I had a few moments the last weeks, and it was awesome. So yeah, but you have just giving first a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what I found so beautiful because in our prior group session before this little interview here, I was asking you all again, when you guys started with the
Yeah,
program, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you putting money down? Why are you putting your time down? Why are you doing this? And at first, everybody was kind of answering with, I want to get healthier, mental health, I want to get more fit and stuff. And now along the way, this deeper knowing of, oh, this is kind of the dance of the universe. And I remember you said two really potent things in the group calls that kind of struck the others as well. And that's also a beautiful thing, like I'm not the only one giving inspiration. There's like a pool of
yeah,
inspiration happening coming from one to the other. And when we did the sacred breathwork session, the Awaken to the Sacred Breath, I remember at the end you were like, I just really remembered that everything in this body, it's temporary and it matters, but much less. What matters is like, I'm a soul and I'm
yeah,
a
inside.
beautiful soul, right?
Yeah,
And you had that recognition and it rippled over to everyone else. Joshua and Tim, they were like, I'm a beautiful soul, right? It was right into
yeah.
the heart. So that was beautiful.
Oh, I almost cry because the feeling at from this moment just come up and hit and like, yeah. Oh, yes, it was really, really deep.
Yeah.
And I think that's also beautiful in the group. We can push each others. Sometimes you have not a good day. You just write in the group, and somebody is like, here, I give you from my energy, and I can push you a little bit, and then you can go. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's together, and that's really beautiful. You're not alone with the struggles. We've been all there. We have all it sometimes. Just go with another and push each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so valuable, to observe that everyone, including you, especially, well, I find everyone more or less during phases, but you're coming in this group, right? And it's a bunch of people from all over. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe vibe with some, maybe don't, but then eventually you're like, we're driving this boat towards higher states of consciousness together. And that's what you're feeling. And that's what I'm feeling too as I observe you. I'm like, okay, this ship is really moving. The ship is really moving,
Yeah.
and nobody gets left behind.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, you're a little late with your practice. Well, get you back in the boat. Well,
Yeah.
get you back in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
momentum. It's a beautiful momentum. And the other moment that I remember with you was apart from the remembrance of that you're a beautiful soul beyond the body, right? Beyond the physicality. Which moment was that? There was a moment where somebody had a low. I'm not sure who it was, but somebody had a low, and I was hosting a retreat, I think, at the time. So I was
Yeah.
on. And then
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
posted in the WhatsApp group and was like, I'm just really challenged right now. And then you send a message that just got them right out there again,
Yeah.
like right
Yeah.
out of the grunt because you were in a stable place. You probably have done your practice for a couple of
Yeah.
days in a row, right? You were like
Yeah.
mentally
Yeah.
powerful,
Yeah.
empowered, emotionally balanced.
Yeah.
That was also a really beautiful moment to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's all that I wanted to ask you, to share a little more insights. But just as a last question, when you look back at all of those sessions, right? We started with an opening circle, And then
Mhm.
we dove a little deeper into mastering the mind. We looked at the meditation formula by Joe Dispenza. We looked at advanced meditation techniques. Eventually, I introduced you to mantras. We looked at the map of consciousness, the letting go method, understanding your emotions. And what of these practices or what of these, let's say, um, spiritual tools that connect you deeper, which ones of those are you currently like using most, and which one is most aligned with you?
I may meditate um, daily, actually. Sometimes I just hear some mantras, as I said. But yeah, meditate, it's for me the best thing to go in. And um, the, which was it? I think Awaken to the Sacred Breath was also a huge transformation, which, it's all together. Sometimes you need two things to see something. That was is what's going on. And the Awaken to the Sacred Breath, I think that was the moment with the beautiful soul, and that also connected to the landscape for emotion, and to see the ego and your soul, and then other humans, and then you see just little things going up, like, oh no, I judged some humans just about their behavior, and I don't want to do that. I want to see their soul, I want to connect with their soul. And that's, I don't know how to say, it's connect with each other.
Mm,
It's you have to do everything to see all together. You
yeah.
cannot just meditate every day and think, I'm fine, that's good. You have to go deeper with the ego, silence the ego, and work with your breath, because in daily life you meet people and then you really use your breath to keep your everything together. It's all in another, so you have to use every tool. Some you do, on purpose, on I take time for this, and some tools you just go, you have it inside, and just you go with it
Mhm.
you know
And that's that beautiful difference, right? Because sometimes a tool and is there, but it's challenging for you to get it. Let's say you have a tool belt or a bag with too many tools, and then you're trying to find the right one. And what
yeah,
we're doing here is we're distilling them to just the essence, right, of all
yeah,
the different tools, making them as simple, and then over time integrating them. And that's why I'm cracking the
yeah,
whip a little bit on like during those 4 months as we're in the program. I'm like, do your morning practice, get that routine in, you know? We start with maybe 15, 20 minutes. Eventually it expands into 30, 40, 50 minutes.
yeah,
No excuses. The soul needs it. The ego needs
yeah,
everything else, but we're serving the soul, right? We're awakening to the soul. And that's also where this name comes from, by the way. I'm not sure if I ever shared this, but the soul
yeah.
slash the sacred body, like
Mm.
spirit body, the sacred body, it's the soul. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. May it inspire other folks to come in into the next rounds of this program.
Really
Um,
hope.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what would you say? Who is this program ideal for?
Everyone who wanna grow with the soul into spirituality, to the universe. So it's everyone. I think everyone needed to grow and go deeper with the soul. Ah, that's a rhyme.
We landed on that note. Trademark, copyright.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks you, Yoon, for everything.